Hey, hi, hello! My name is Fox Arie, and welcome to Fox Thoughts. In this episode, I'll be explaining to you why I have a deep, rooted, strong, intense, passionate, and quite silly love for the Super Mario Brothers series. Well, where to begin? I considered beginning from where I began, but I wanted to hit all the mainline games. So I figured maybe it wasn't a good idea to just jump around like that because I started with New Super Mario Brothers and then I jumped from there to the classics and all around. So I figured that wasn't a good idea. And just to tell you my thoughts, feelings, whatever about the games that came out in chronological order, I'll be unfortunately skipping spin offs and other stuff like that. So sorry, Mario Paint fans, or I don't know, Mario sports fans. I'm sure there's people out there, you know. I'm sure, relax, relax. I see you. I see you. You little bitch. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, he's only a little bit of a bitch. Anyway, I might as well throw in my thoughts and feelings about the Super Mario Brothers movie, the one in 2023. I know there's three Mario Brothers movies. If you don't know, there was one in 1986, 1 year after the first Super Mario came out. It was an anime OVA. Um, so that exists, and then the infamous live action, I think mid to late 90s, I think around that time. I'm not exactly sure when it came out, but that movie, and of course the one that came out earlier this year from the recording of this audio. So I'm just gonna throw my feelings on that at the end, but we're not there yet. We gotta work your way. Just calm down. Let's start with the Beep Boop 8-bit NES games and go through. Yeah. So, obviously, we gotta start with Super Mario Bros. Wow. What can I say that literally everyone else and their mother and their dog and their cheeky little bastard son has said about the original Mario Bros. It's innovative, it's inspirational, its music is just very fun, it has great gameplay, it's easy to understand. I get all of that. But my first experience was kind of looking at it at the lens of wow, this is the historical DNA of what Mario became. Because again, I started with the new Super Mario Brothers games, so I was aware that there were games before my time, but I wanted to see where it really all began. And thanks to the Wii U Virtual Console, I was able to understand and perceive and enjoy Super Mario Brothers. And despite the fact that the game is so old, the gameplay and just the way it looks and feels, it still holds up to this day. Obviously, it's primitive, but it's just fun. You know, if you want such a well, I want to say easy game, relatively speaking, but if you want a simple experience to just try out or try to go through, I don't know. There's some people out there who are freaks and they love to go for high scores, even at games like those. I'm not that one of those kind of people. But if you want to go for a high score, that's there. You can enjoy the game however you like. I am not gonna judge you, but for me, my experiences, it was kind of like a challenge to try to beat Super Mario Bros. Like throughout my entire life, and I really enjoyed it. I picked it up on Wii U. I picked it up on 3DS. I played it a lot. I played it a lot through Nintendo Switch Online service. I've just been playing it so much over the years. It's kind of been like a comfort game for me, just to run through, especially the level 4-1. 4-1 is very fun, and it's kind of a level that I've basically mastered. I mastered where to jump and how to jump and just optimize my time. I am not a speedrunner to any extent. I will never dedicate any meaningful amount of time to seriously play through a game as quickly as possible. I am a variety person. I like to jump from experience to experience, and I don't like to stick with one thing for too long. That goes for really anything, really, but either way, whenever I want something simple and easy and well, just comforting to me, I go to the original Super Mario Bros. That's definitely one of the places I go just to chill if I want to play something I'm extremely familiar with, which of course I am, because why wouldn't I be, you know? uh, there's nothing much else to say other than that. Besides, I beaten Super Mario Bros. Only barely earlier this year, and that was a big deal for me. I've been trying, like I said, for a long time to beat it, and I finally did. What really stopped me was just the RNG, or I should say, the randomness of the hammers for Hammer Bros and Bowser. They're just very, very rough. And honestly, I kind of think they go against the philosophy of Super Mario Brothers design. So, how I think the design was is to make an experience that is both tough but also easy to understand. Like, you see the obstacles before you, and you just gotta go, run, jump your way through it all. And, of course, you gotta play to actually completely understand, but the whole idea is just you go for it, jump around, you collect power ups if you're good enough and don't get hit to eventually get a fire flower, and you just you good. You platform good. You jump so good with the leggies of yours. Sweet, twisty, bendy legs. So, the Hammer Bros end with Bowser shooting out lots of hammers, and I should say the latter half of the castles. I think he starts doing that in Castle 4 or 5, something like that. I just felt like it kind of went against that because it's not like, oh, I can prepare for this. It's just unpredictable the way that they all move. You can also say the same for Bowser's Fire Breath, but I feel like it's fine because it starts coming to you from afar, and then once you see Bowser start shooting it out, you kind of understand. Oh, I gotta stand back, wait until he shoots his fire, then like jump over it, jump over him, or go under him and touch the axe, right? So even though it is random, you can work your way around it. It is a problem you can solve. But with the Hammer Bros and with Bowser's Hammer, not really. It's just random, and even a startup animation could kill you. It's just not fair at all, and I never liked it. In future games, Hammer Brothers and other like Hammer esque or like random elements gameplay, for the most part, I am perfectly content with. I'm perfectly fine with. It's just that it kind of like ruins the fun for me a little bit once I get to World 8 and I have to deal with it all. It's just like, man, it's tough, and I enjoyed getting over it, but replaying it now, it's just more hassle than it's worth. I mean, I'm glad there is really a rough challenge, and it's great to want to play over and over and over again. I would have loved this if I grew up with it, definitely. But no, it's just not for me. Just it's too much. There's not enough leeway to get over it. But hey, that's what I got for criticizing a game that came out in 1985, right? Shortly after, we got, or not we, but Japan got the release of Super Mario Brothers 2. Over here, it's called Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. I really like this game. A lot of the Mario community really doesn't like this game, and I totally understand why. And ironically enough, I like this game for the reasons I don't like World 8 or just general like Hammer Brothers and Bowser's Hammers in Mario Bros. 1. It's just really rough and random and just not so crazy batshit madness. But the thing is, what's different, it teaches you that that's the way it's going to be from the very beginning, from the first level of Lost Levels. And I kind of like that. It's kind of like Nintendo's first ROM hack, if that makes sense. It's like, it's nuts and crazy. And there's a lot of interesting gimmicks and a lot of interesting new things that they added, but it's still relatively fair. You just have to learn it. You just have to become one with the bullshit. And I think within that context and that understanding that fundamentals of Lost Levels, it's great. And I love it. I haven't beaten it, and I don't think I want to really try. I really exhausted myself with OG Mario Brothers or sorry, Super Mario Brothers, not original. We're not talking about the beep boop. Oh no, here comes the Koopas and crabs. Um, you know. But either way, Lost Levels. I like it a lot, and I'm sure I'll dedicate some time in my life in the future to want to beat it because I got pretty far. I got into World 5, if I'm not mistaken, and there are some things that I don't like about it. Like, there's this one castle level where you just have to kind of figure out what paths you have to take. You have to take 3 to 4 specific sections. Like, you have to just, like, guess. Like, one, like, there's, okay, it's divided into threes. You have to guess which way to go, like, 3 or 4 times in order to actually face off against, that world's Bowser, or Bowser, in quotes, I should say. And no, that's bullshit. I hated it. I had to look up a guide for it. But I feel like it still plays to the nature of the game of go in there, figure it out, and good luck, have fun. I still like it overall. There's parts of it that I don't like, but still, it's really old and it's more of like a history art piece rather than like, oh, I must have granular experience for all gamers. So that is that. So now that I already pissed off the entirety of the Mario Brothers community, let me piss them off even more. Super Mario Brothers 2 in America, otherwise known as Super Mario Brothers USA in Japan. I think this game is kind of bad. Now, listen, I enjoy the fact that each character is different. Of course, you have the iconic Mario's well rounded, Luigi jumps higher and is slippery, Peach can float, Toad is faster. I like that. It's iconic. I think it's great. As iconic as, ripping off this other game called Doki Doki Panic and just putting Mario over it is iconic, but still, you get the idea. It's great, and a lot of things in the game has stood the test of time in terms of being a component of Mario Brothers, like the Shy Guys or Birdo, and the occasional very rare reference or cameo of Wart the Frog. However, I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't make me like it. I think it's because it's too puzzly, but it doesn't lean into the puzzles. Maybe not puzzly is the word. I guess it's so different compared to basically any other Mario game, and that in itself isn't bad, but that's not really what I really wanted. I mean, the platforming's good. It's pretty nice. I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't resonate with me, that doesn't stick with me. It's just one of those games that I've never been able to get into, and I can't really tell you what it is. It's like at the tip of my tongue, but man, I really can't tell you for the life of me. But I know a lot of people like this game, and I respect that. I understand that. There will be a point in time where I will come back to this game and try to go through it. Maybe not beat it, but I want to try to experience it more and maybe see what other people see in it. It's just that right now I'm not interested, and it's just been one of those games where I try a little every once in a great while, and I just kind of stop after 10 minutes. So sorry, but oh well, not everything is made for everyone, sadly. Just Mario Brothers 2 or slash USA is not built for Fox, sorry, I guess. uh, in other words, to appease all the people that are currently trying to break into my house because of what I said, Super Mario Brothers 3 is awesome, is amazing, spectacular. It's not just one of the best NES games. I think it's one of the best games of all time. And I'm not baited by nostalgia. I'm not like, oh, this is just amazing. It's Mario. I didn't fall under the pressure of Mario Mania when this came out because I wasn't alive when this came out. No, 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 no. Why I love this game is purely because it's amazing. I love the way it looks, although it does struggle with weird screen glitches. Screen. I don't know what the right term is. It's like a little crunchy, miscolory. The NES can barely handle diagonal scrolling, so it just kind of like becomes very yucky on the left side there of the screen. However, it's spectacular. It's wonderful. When I think of a game pushing its console to the limits, but still be very enjoyable, I think of Super Mario Brothers 3 first and foremost. I'd even argue it's probably one of my favorite just Mario games ever. I wouldn't say it's my absolute favorite. I've gone back and forth on that and another game, which we'll get to very soon. but it's just so good. It's just so wonderful. The levels are quite short, and sometimes that's to its detriment, but it's just constantly hitting you with interesting ideas or tough platform challenging. Nothing feels too bullshit. Nothing feels too out of reach. Majority of the time, if you die, it's on your own fault. You just have to figure it out and just get better and better. And I think it is the perfect follow up for the original Super Mario Brothers. And I guess kind of an interesting follow up for if you're a big fan of Super Mario Brothers 2. Either way, I think it's wonderful. And I've been playing it a lot on my Game Boy Advance because the Game Boy Advance port is great. I understand there's a bit of screen crunch because, you got to fit this 4 by 3 game into a different aspect ratio for a handheld with a significantly smaller screen. I get it, but for all intensive purposes, it's still Super Mario Brothers 3, and the screen crunch is not that bad, guys. Come on, it's not that bad. So, ba bam, ba boom, ba bing. It's great. I love it to death. Also, since I mentioned the Super Mario Brothers 3 Advanced version, I don't remember. I think it's the fourth out of the Advanced ports. I just want to quickly talk about them real quick. I haven't had a lot of experience with those ports so much, but I just think it's so funny to hear Mario and company make really really crusty bit crushed sounds coming out of the shitty GBA speakers. It's just funny to hear super compressed Charles Martinet just doing his usual Mario wahoo, all that good shit. But it's so crunchy, it's so crusty, and it is a little bit annoying when it's very very prevalent, like in the Super Mario Brothers 2 Advance, whatever it's called, version. But it's just funny to me, and also very charming, extremely a product of its time, no doubt about it. But I like it for what it is. Definitely not my ideal way to play the games. I wish there was an option to turn off the voices. But you know what? For ports made for a console that is 20 years old, I mean, that's definitely not the one people are going back to. When I like to play these games, I prefer to play their original incarnation. So I heard a lot of people love the Super Mario Brothers All Star versions of these four that I mentioned here. The Mario Bros. Lost Levels, whatever. Just it's good and it's fine. It's just the physics are different, and my body, my mind, and my soul is intertwined with the NES original's physics. So I can't get pulled away from that. That's just kind of intertwined into me. But it doesn't make that version or any other version bad inherently. I rather play it the way it was originally intended in this case, because that's just what makes me the most comfortable and happy. Anyway, enough about those stinky old games. Let's get to something more stinkier that is just, I think, a year older than Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Land on the original Game Boy, which was a launch title, if I believe. And it's quite interesting. It's super duper short, but honestly, I think it's a game that all Mario Brothers fans should play. And unfortunately, there's no legal way to obtain this game as of right now. Uh, the sequel, Super Mario Land 2 Six Golden Coins, is available on Nintendo Switch Online with a regular, what do you call it, a regular tier, which is very nice. I just hope that they eventually port over Super Mario Land, because it's another one of those games where you want to look back on for the historical context of when it came out, what it did, what it showed consumers and just general audiences. And you know what? It's still interesting to this day. However, I gotta say, the physics feel wonky. The level design does mostly attune to that, and you do get used to it if you put some time into it. Not even a lot. Like, just you get used to it after like 10, 15 minutes. But still, it is very wonky. And also collision is really, really bad. Like, I just last night I was playing the game just to play it again and see how it felt and have it fresh in my mind. And I was descending from a couple of blocks onto a Koopa, And even though the Koopa was facing and walking the other way, and Mario was on top of him, it killed me. It just out of nowhere. It's really weird, and it's not the best game. Definitely not at all. But it is an interesting experience, and it has some interesting level design. And oh, excuse me, my gosh, my body apparently hates Super Mario Land, but my soul doesn't. I just think it's interesting. And of course, it gave us Princess Daisy, and I love her. I love Daisy so much. She's probably my second or third favorite Mario character because just how she was characterized in the spin offs. So, man, I just like Mario Land. It is really probably the biggest black sheep, even more than Mario Brothers 2. But again, if you're a Mario fan and you never played it or you've only heard people talk about it, just try it out for yourself when you can or if you can. It's very, very great. Now, no more child's play. Sit down, everybody. We're getting to the real shit now. Super Mario World is a game that I like, but I think is inferior to Super Mario Brothers 3. Okay, listen. All right, I want to I want you to understand here. I want you to listen to me, all right? If you're just a regular person who is not a Mario freak like me, then you're probably like, oh, it's okay to have an opinion about a game over the other. For Mario fans, this is like ride or die. This is a hill you die on. And more often than not, I don't necessarily die on hills for opinions, but this one I will. Super Mario World is a great game. It's a fantastic game. A lot of people consider it one of the best games ever, or the best game ever, which, not me, but that's fine. I just think it kind of pales in comparison to the consistency of and fluidity of Super Mario Brothers 3. Um, and what I mean by that is in Mario Brothers 3, again, the levels are shorter and sometimes that sucks, but there's always something happening. If you get stuck on something, like then the worst of it is just over. Whatever. It's very nice, very cool, and very just it flows very nice. It's just a very nice flowing game. With Super Mario World, it has everything that Mario Bros. 3 has, but just a little bit slower in terms of how level design are laid out, in terms of how mechanics are rolled out to you. It doesn't necessarily make it bad, and yeah, I understand why people prefer that, but when it comes to raw replayability, I find it really hard to come back to Super Mario World because it is mechanically more better than Mario 3. It's just it just takes a little while to really get things going. With Mario Brothers 3, it's like, yeah, the first levels are easy, but once you get, you go through them really fast, and then you start to get the harder shit, even like, starting with World 1, things start to get a little crazy, and then it just gets nuts from there, relative to your knowledge of the game and how much you play games and how good you are at games, of course, but still, with Mario World, it's more of like a slow burn. And I understand slow burns are definitely for a lot of people. In some cases, I do like slow burns, but not in my platformers. I just want to jump around and just not necessarily get it over with, but like jump in and go through and love it. However, I still respect Mario World so much. It introduced a lot of wonderful things, like multiple exits for levels. Well, did Mario 3 have that? I don't think it did, but it definitely introduced Yoshi here. And Yoshi is, of course, a big mainstay for the Mario franchise, and it's very important. And I like Yoshi. I'm not a huge Yoshi fan. I'm not about to, like, go on my hands and knees and pray to the Yoshi gods. Don't worry. I'm not a freak like that. But I still respect the character and its origins, and I'm happy to see them be respected. But other than that, we also had a lot of optional paths, which is wonderful in the game. You have the big switches, which are very fun to get to and unlock. And probably my favorite thing this game introduced was the special levels. I love them. I think they're tough enough. I think they're great, and I think they're wonderful. I don't know what it's actually called, the actual special world or what have you, but there's two of them if you're not familiar. There is one where you can, get to the different levels from across the whole like regular overworld, and how do I want to say this? Like, you can go around to all the others within that area if you find the secret exits. And I think I don't know what the requirement is. Oh, no, no, no. For one of them, I think what you have to do is get a secret exit, which is really rough and either requires you to get all the switches that I just mentioned, or just be really good, or just be very knowledgeable of how to get there on your own with the super cape. Which, by the way, I like that power up a lot. Very, very fun. Once you can get to that secret exit of one of the levels in particular, then you get the the option to go to the hardest levels in the whole game. So like a second special world, which is awesome. I loved playing through that again for the first time earlier this year. It was very delightful. It was very fun, and those were pretty hard challenges. I gotta admit they were pretty rough. I mean, I still got through it in relatively about an hour, and maybe a little more, a little less, but still, they were really good, and I loved them. And I also liked the fact that they had silly, what's it called, the title names for the levels, like gnarly and tubular. Like I thought it was just like again, product of its time. It's wonderful, and I loved it. And I think that was the best thing that it introduced into the series. Although, despite that, I still just like the flow of Mario Brothers 3 better. It's always been the superior one in my mind. But I understand for all the reasons I just said, all the new stuff and all the interesting, brand new, I guess, innovations that it's done, why a lot of people prefer Mario World, and that's okay. Just, just know, I'm a heathen, and I like the funny beep booper instead of the super booper. Okay, okay. Now, I really like Super Mario Land 2. I think it's a great game. And I feel like in the Mario community, a lot of people kind of praise it as a hidden gem. Well, not hidden gem per se, but one of the lesser known but respected games. And I respect it a lot. I think it's great and is probably, no, 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 definitely 10 times better than the original Mario Land. This is still on the original Game Boy, but man, it drastically takes advantage of what the hardware can do. Even though it's just a weaker NES that you can put in your pocket, it really squirts out. I guess that's the term I'm using. It really squirts out a great experience. It's not super long. I'd say it's a bit longer than the original Super Mario Land. I don't know if I mentioned, but you can probably beat that game in a half hour, or if you know what you're doing, pretty much. But even though Super Mario Land 2 was just a little bit longer than that, the ride is definitely more enjoyable, definitely more fleshed out, more quality. And I understand why Nintendo put that first over the original on their subscription service. It totally makes sense why. It is probably one of the best experiences on original Game Boy. And I think it's really great, and another Mario game all Mario fans should play. Honestly, the only mainline Mario games I don't necessarily immediately recommend for people who haven't played them and with that are already into Mario is Mario Brothers 2 and the new Soup games. Like they are good on their own right. I just don't think it's necessarily something that you should experience like right away as soon as you can. And even then, some of these like you don't need to experience right away. Mario Land, you can go like a few years of your life without that, before that infects your brain like it has mine. But still, the point still stands. Super Mario Land 2 is pretty good. Don't expect the world from it, but expect a good time, especially within the context of what the original Game Boy's limitations are. I'm sure you'll have a great time with it. And if you have Nintendo Switch Online, go for it. It's just right there. Just play it already. It's great. But of course, we're finally here. Super Mario 64. This is a great game. And I'd even say it's my favorite sandbox open Mario games out of the three. Or I should say four. Yeah, okay, there's four. There's four now. But out of the four, I think the first one is just the greatest. And I'll talk about comparisons with that and the other one I was thinking just right now in my mind of how it was very close but not quite beat Mario 64 later when we get to it. But let's just focus on this for now. Holy crap. again, it's one of those things, one of those games where I don't know what to say because it's just talked to death. You know, with Mario Lost Levels in 2 or 3, Land, World, I mean, people have obviously exhausted talking about them. But I just feel like if there were two games people have said everything and anything about, it would be the original Super Mario and then Mario 64. And for good reason. This game is awesome and, of course, revolutionary for its time. It made sense of why the Nintendo 64 came with a free nipple. You know, it's great. And I just want to say, it really helped me understand it's okay to not 100% games. Hang on there. This is very related. Just hold on there, buddy. So, growing up, I had the compulsion to want to beat games and see everything that a game has to offer, which is understandable. It is my favorite hobby and something that means the world to me. But I don't know. It always felt more like a chore or a job than like something fun to do. It was like I needed to because I own this game, and of course, when you're a kid and you're not in the wealthiest family, you don't have like new games every second. You know, not even, or more realistically, not new games every week, unless you were renting games, which I probably should have done, but whatever. Um, it was just kind of like, hey, these are my games, and I there's so much I could do with them. Let me try to beat and see everything in them. And that's just kind of been an anxiety problem for me for a long time. I've just kind of been stuck in the mindset of I must completely see everything from all my games, and that honestly turned me away from so many. It turned me away from some Zelda games and turned me away from Rayman Origins out of all things. Because to be fair, there was a lot to do in the, well, yeah, the modern 2D Rayman games. But still, there's a lot of different experiences in gaming that I got turned away of, like only partway through, because of the mindset of I need to do everything immediately. What Super Mario 64 taught me, like both earlier this year, but just in general, like over the time I've been playing games, is that it's okay to not see and do everything. You can if you really want to, but it's perfectly okay to do parts of games that you like, and it's perfectly okay to maybe even stop midway through or take a break for a few months and just come back whenever you're ready. It's very inviting, and it's very like supportive of that. And I think what supports it is just that you only need probably only a little over a quarter of different stars per like area of the game in order to progress. Maybe a quarter is wrong. I'd say more like a little less than half is probably more accurate, but still, you definitely do not need anywhere near close to the 120 stars of the original Super Mario 64 release in order to beat it. I mean, in my current playthrough of Mario 64, which I've been super on and off about, I already have more than 70 stars, and I could just go and beat Bowser anytime. And having the comfort of, if there's any part of the game I don't like, I don't have to play it. I don't have to beat it. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of like a self imposed anxiety, but I guess it makes sense because I was just trying to keep myself entertained and trying to keep myself trying to do something. Because growing up, I never knew what I wanted to do or how I wanted to spend my free time. But either way, I just want to say Mario 64 really helped me understand that it's okay. And now I'm under the mindset of, let me do the parts and games that I want to do, and if I'm not having fun trying to complete like a whole section or level 100%, I'll either come back to it later or not at all. And that's okay. It's perfectly fine. If that's something you struggle with, I'm not saying play Mario 64, it'll fix it for you, but I will say it's perfectly fine to not 100% games. Games are supposed to be for fun, something that makes you feel happy or joy or emotional if you want, or whatever you want games to make you feel. As long as it's not something bad, just please don't make yourself upset because you want to beat a game because you love it. It's okay to not beat games. As long as you have fun, that's where the real value comes from. All that aside, Super Mario 64 is, of course, uh, again, one of the most iconic games of all time. The level design is great, the music is wonderful. I mean, just in general, all the soundtracks for all the Mario games up to this point have been wonderful. Um, and it does look fine for its time. I personally am a big fan of low polygon stuff, but I understand why that isn't a fan for everyone. Sorry for stopping for a second. I felt like I was gonna burp. Anyway, I guess I'm just a greasy pig today, you know. Mario makes me quite a tubby, but I don't know what the fuck that means. Just ignore me, but keep listening. Either way, um, Mario 64 good. Not perfect, not the best of all time in my opinion, but it's still a hell of an experience. And hey, you know, it's pretty good, the Mario. Now I'm gonna take a small break from going through the games here, and kind of tell you how Mario has affected my way of speaking for better and for worse in my life. Now, you might be wondering, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, listen, I grew really, really attached to the few games I had growing up, as I mentioned, and that meant I heard a lot of Mario's voice. And even outside of that, the times where I went to the library, go through the internet, and watch whatever, I got really attached to hearing Mario 64 voice clips out of fan animations or what have you. So basically, I am very susceptible of repeating things that make me happy or just like over and over again. Sometimes I do it on purpose, but other times I do it on accident. One of the times where it just kind of happens and it just became a part of my person was Super Mario 64's voice lines. Of course, we have other ones from Mario Galaxy, Duology, and what have you, but specifically the one from Mario 64, it just became a part of who I am for basically a big part of my life. Even to this day, I would just randomly go like, woohoo! Yaha! Woohoo! You know, you get the idea. Like, it just happens. It just escape. There was one time recently where I bumped my knee against my bed and it hurt like a motherfucker, the motherest of all fuckers. And my first instinct wasn't to say ow, it was ahoo, like bruh, really? To this day, that's just still how I talk to people, both in text or in person or over the call. I would just say yahoo or okie dokie, and I can't help it. It's still a part of me, and I can't separate it. It's just something so simple and something so strong that I can't remove from myself. And it's not necessarily because Mario is super popular or whatever. It's just so infectious, the voice acting. And in general, voice acting and how characters sound in games and just in general media is very special to me. It means a lot to me. When it's done right, it means the whole world to me. When it's done wrong, I feel like I want to banish everybody to the demon realm. But, you know, I keep that to myself for the most part. Either way, I just really, really am sentimental over how Mario sounds like, especially in 64. And it's just kind of become a part of me. And it probably will still be a part of my speech for the rest of my life. It's been there basically ever since I was like 5, 6, I don't know, 7. So it's just kind of stuck with me forever. Oh well. Boo-hoo. Anyway, is that true? Is this true? Sorry, I wrote down a list of all the like Mario mainline games, here, and apparently Sunshine comes after Mario 64 on the list on like the mainline games. Huh? I thought there would have been another game, but I mean then again, that yeah, Mario Land 2 came out before. I always thought in my mind that Mario Land 2 came out after Mario 64, or maybe it does, and I got wrong information. Either way, yeah, here we are, Sunshine. I don't like this one. So, New Super Mario Brothers. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Super Mario Sunshine is a game I honestly didn't give much of a chance to, and out of the games I said on here already that I want to come back to, this is the one I'm going to come back to first because I'm not exhausted on Retro 2D Mario. But I gotta say, I like it. I think it's a fine game. There's just all not all. It's just the little parts of it that make it rough. I just feel like the island resort theme is not super interesting to me. Um, the way Mario feels just feels awful and just wrong. I know people say, "Oh, you gotta use FLUDD to make him feel better," and I do it to like hover and like course correct, but it just kind of feels like putting a band-aid on an issue. It just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel like Mario, like he feels amazing in Mario 64. He feels like a sloppery piece of sausage rolling down the street because there's too much mayonnaise on the damn thing in Sunshine. So, because of those reasons, I've been really turned away. Oh, and like the first level, or like the first set of missions in like the first level, they weren't really capturing my interest either. I was just kind of like, oh, this is just. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But it's not something that grabs me. I don't know. Maybe I was putting too much like excitement over it. I fall into the trap when I was younger of, oh, I'm gonna be super hyped about something to the point where it will basically never ever reach my expectations. I am never like that anymore, or at least very rarely. Only times where it absolutely feel like it's necessarily, but even then, I try to keep it reasonable. I understand there will always be imperfections in any piece of media or art or anything at all, and that's perfectly fine as long as it doesn't ruin the experience. Sadly, the imperfection of Super Mario Sunshine ruins the experience for me, and I hope to that when I eventually give it a second chance, or more like a fourth chance, but still, once I give it another chance, and that's the game I will focus on for a little while and maybe play through at least to basic completion. We'll see. I will hopefully learn to appreciate it more. But until then, it's just the only Mario game I really don't want to touch. But I figure I should say my understandably disappointed feelings about it. But I know there's diehard fans for it, and I'm happy for you guys. I just, man, I don't know. I don't want to see no sunshine no more. So let's go to a place where the sun doesn't shine. Super Mario Brothers with a new on it. I don't know why I said it like that. I forgot the new, even though that's exactly what I'm talking about. Urgh. Anyway, new Super Mario Brothers. Here's my opinion on it. The first two games in it, the one on the DS and the one on the Wii, are great. I'm not saying they're as great as Super Mario Brothers 3 or World, but I still think they're quite solid games. Um, so let's start with the one on DS. I'll talk about both of them, even though Galaxy is sandwiched between the two, which is interesting because I always thought that Galaxy came out after Mario Brothers Wii, but whatever. That it doesn't matter. So let's just talk about New Super Mario Brothers DS and Wii for now. So New Super Mario Brothers DS, even though that's not the title, I'll call it that because I guess I could say original New Soup, but whatever. I'll also further abbreviate it with New Soup because that's the meme, that's the joke. So we'll do that. So New Soup DS Uno, the first one. Wow. Um, I like it a lot. It was my first video game ever. So there you go. Now you can dox me and see my age and whatever. I don't care. I liked it a lot. And I get it, the nostalgia just talking, oh wow. But even playing it now, it's still a solid experience. It's not like, oh, this is a gang banging experience. This game fucks. This game is awesome. I mean, it's still good. Great, even, but no, it's a very generic and safe Mario adventure for the most part. And that was okay, because this came at a time where there was no new 2D Mario game for a decent while. It completely skipped the Game Boy Color, if you want to call it that, and there was a Mario game on the Virtual Boy. I don't even know the name of it, but I am not too familiar of how much of a Mario game that is. Maybe I'll play it and talk about it one day, but who played the Virtual Boy besides collectors and emulators? Who? Little Timothy back in the early 90s. No, get the fuck out of here. I mean, I'm sure you did, Timothy, but like, not me. So honestly, I completely forgot until I started that sentence a couple of seconds ago. Whatever the fuck that was. Time is not my friend. I don't know if you know that. Like, time either goes too fast or too slow, and I just kind of talk with the rhythm of time, which I know is really weird to say. That's just how my brain works. It's just a broken pedometer, I guess, or whatever. That is not related to what we're talking about. So, New Super Mario Brothers DS is a good, safe, sanitary Mario adventure that doesn't make it a bad one though. And I gotta say, my favorite part about it is the optional worlds. If you're not familiar, once you beat World 2 and World 5, if I'm not mistaken, I think I could be wrong, but those might be the world numbers. Basically, there's two branching paths at the boss of two of the worlds. And if you just beat it regularly or with almost any power up, then you just go on to the next world. But if you beat it with a mini mushroom, which makes you super tiny and die in one hit, if I'm not, yeah, you die in one hit, you will go through a little crack in the floor and you will go to a harder world. And I love that. That shit is awesome. And I think it was great the way it's implemented and inferred as well. Because instead of the game just being like, oh, too bad, you missed the world, it does do that in the mini map. However, before you really think about it too much in terms of like, oh, how do I get there? At least for me, once you're if you beat a world regularly, which you're most likely gonna do unless you already know this ahead of time, then you would see on your way out after the boss level with like in the fork of the road that there's a little hole that you can go through, and you'll probably think to yourself if you've probably played every level and paid attention to power ups and everything, oh, I need to be small for this. I need to be a tiny little baby man. So figuring that out and doing that and getting to these harder two worlds was a dream to me. It was wonderful. It was just great. And I felt so smart to figure it out. I mean, it was like really simple and easy, but still, like I did that and I figured that on my own. I didn't need anyone to tell me. And I love that in games where it gives you all the tools to figure out what to do and you figure it out. Sometimes some things are too obscure or too out there for people to think. Um, and it's just, oh, well, I had to look it up. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, I look guides up all the time because I'm admittedly quite stupid, and that's okay. And I sometimes don't understand basic mechanics, which is also fine. I never fought that in the game. I know when it's my fault and when it's the game's fault. I'm very aware. Sometimes it's both, but whatever. In this case, even though it was easy, thinking in the mindset of this was designed for kids getting into the series, wow, that was awesome. And it's a very formative video game experience for me. And honestly, it's probably what ultimately made me realize that video games is more than just a toy that I play with. It's a hobby for me. And it really stuck around. It basically made me a Nintendo fan for life. So thanks, new Super Mario Brothers DS developers. You converted me to the dark side. No, I'm kidding. But man, I love it. I love that a lot. And I hope you can understand why. So, new Super Wii is basically new Super DS. Some of the charm stripped away. There was quite a specific charm with new Super DS. Uh, new Super Wii is definitely more like even blander. But despite that, it is the more solid game. It's probably no, it definitely is my favorite out of the general new Super Mario Brothers games. All four and a half of them. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I think it's good. It's a good Mario experience. It's definitely one of those games where, oh, if you were young at the time and you liked Mario, then there you go, perfect for you. And I ate that shit up, and I ate that shit up. Yummy. No, 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 no. Shit is not yummy. You get the idea. I liked it. And well, I also like the multiplayer. I understand why the multiplayer in the new Soup games are not favorable, but when you're not doing four players, when you're just doing two or even three, and like the players are competent and they understand Mario, even like at a basic level, it is so much fun. I have so much fond memories of playing uh, the new Soup Wii game with my grandma or grandpa or with friends. You know, come over, they bring their own damn Wii remotes. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Johnny. I'm fucking. Anyway, yeah, it's great. And it also doesn't feel like the levels were too compromised for multiplayer. There are some times where it was. I mean, you gotta make your sacrifices, but it still felt like a fair, fun, and interesting challenge. Well, challenge if you're a little baby gamer. I am not familiar with these games post games. I don't know if New Soup DS even has one. I think New Soup Wii has one, but I'm not familiar with them. I was never good enough to get to them or access them if they were a thing. But I will say I remember spending my star coins on those like instructional videos in New Soup Wii, and I just watched them over and over again, being like, "Wow, that could be me one day." And I guess that today, or not today, I guess that day passed a long time ago. But I'm glad I did it. I did it. I'm that now. I'm proud of myself. Anyway, New Super Wii is fun. It's definitely not something I'm like, oh, you should go play it right now. But I mean, if you want a solid Mario experience, please play it with a friend or two. Trust me, it's a fun time. Now the real shit. Let's talk about duology. People actually care about more than 2 minutes. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Yeah. Um, if New Soup was the game that got me into video games as a hobby, Galaxy 1 and 2 is what got me into games as basically a borderline addiction. And don't worry, it's not like I destroy my life over playing video games. Even as a kid, I was quite studious and I always made sure to do my homework before video games. But still, if there was any time of day where I had like any crumb of free time, I would play video games. And and I'm still the same way to this day. And I'm an adult enough to admit it. Either way, wow, Galaxy is so good. Again, there's just so much praise, there's so much wonder about it. I don't know what to say. Shaky remote is very fun, and I get it. I get it is tiring for people to do it. Luckily, the most modern port, even though it's no longer available to buy, in most places ever again, it's impossible to get. But it's very nice to have a modern official version where you press a button and you shake, and you do the Wii remote shake, your Mario spin, Wii. Um, what else there is there to say? It's very granular. It's very spectacular. It's a big, humongous, bombastic adventure. And I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think Mario's ever felt grander since then. Odyssey came a little close, but not close enough. Again, we'll get to there when we get to there, but Galaxy, whoo, baby on a stick, nice kebab. Yahoo! It's great. And I loved it to death. And Gusty Galaxy, or was no, sorry, Gusty Garden, the song, the one that goes like, that lives rent free in my mind. Whenever I do something that is like adventurous or risky or is granular, or even as a joke, like jokingly granular, that is the song I think of. That's when I think of a masterpiece. Reminds me of this one thing. There's one party I went to like a couple of years ago. I'm not a party person at all. My mom dragged me to it and whatever. I was just like, okay, I'll bring my headphones and phone and 3DS and fuck around. What I did was I was just chilling at this random person's like swing set, and this girl, maybe around my age, came up to me and was like, "What are you listening to?" And I said, "Oh, I'm listening to some Mario music." And she's like, "A video game music? Ew, 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 ew." And like, what's wrong with that? Because obviously music is music, no matter what medium it's made for. And then the girl said, "Oh, that's not real music." I don't know if she was just saying that to fuck with me. I've never met this person in my life. I never seen her ever again. But I said, "Okay, fine. I'll show you one song from a Mario game, a video game, and it will blow your shock off." So that's what I did. I popped on Gusty Garden. I keep calling it the wrong thing. And I put it on blast through my shitty Android speakers. And she was just kind of like standing like diagonally from me while I was still swinging like a pathetic loser on the swing. And she was like, that's still not music. The fuck you mean it's still not music? This is a damn orchestra going bombastic, ham, nuts on the wall. You say this is not music? Ah, fuck you, girl. Fuck you, girl. I'm sure she's a nice person, but man, is she a bitch for not liking Mario Galaxy Gusty Garden. Tisk, tisk, tisk. That aside, wow. I think Mario Galaxy is almost my perfect Mario experience. It's not so open where I feel overwhelmed, because I do get anxiety with like open sandboxy kind of things, and even more so with open worlds. Jesus Christ, I have to really be in the mood for an open world game, undoubtedly. But Mario Galaxy level design was open enough to explore, but not so open where it felt overwhelming, and it was perfect. And I think a lot of people preferred it if it was like, oh, big bombastic levels and these little intricacies, little parts of it. And I understand that. There's definitely people that enjoy that for sure. I'm just a person that prefers the more open-ended but linear approach of games, and this was definitely it. And I just fell in love with it, and I played it top to bottom. Well, maybe not all the way to the bottom. I definitely didn't unlock Luigi. I didn't get all the green stars. I didn't was not close to 100%, but I did beat this game. And yeah, I cried when I beat it. I get emotional when I was little and I beat a game, because again, I would kind of get anxious and stop playing games because of my fear of 100%ing. But Galaxy, it was different. I just felt I kind of barely understood it's okay to just jump around sometimes. And although I did as much as I know I could do, I don't know, beating the game was great. The story that Rosalina told was wonderful. And hearing Mario say, "Welcome to the new galaxy," something like that. Like, welcome to, I don't know, so he said something very simple. It was like 3 or 4 words, but I mean, those were like, it was a like a real sentence, you know? Like other times, the other closest time in that game, or just in general, Mario came to that. And before I knew it, he said, "Thank you so much for to playing my game," or while he was a floating head in the edutainment games of the late '80s, early '90s. Like all I heard him was say like, "Oh yeah," and "Wahoo, yee." So to hear him speak a little, like kind of properly for the first time in my life, was kind of massive. I just kind of felt my whole world stopped, and I couldn't help but cry a lot, you know. So I know it's very silly to cry over that, but it just, I don't know. It was like he was saying thank you for being my number one to me, you know. And it's a moment that no one could ever take away from me. And it really holds a special place in my heart. This whole game holds a special place in my heart. And I think it's just wonderful. And I still have a hard time playing it. I think I played it too much on and off growing up, and now it's just kind of like I gotta wait a few years before I can go in fresh and enjoy it again. But once I come back to it, man, I will come back. Whew, it's gonna be so good. But that's enough about Galaxy 1. What about Galaxy 2? Well, Galaxy 2, besides story wise, because in general Mario games are not about story, but put the story aside, because it's not really bad. It's bad in Galaxy 2. There's nothing. Wow, it's the okay. I'm not gonna say objectively. It's the better mechanically more often than not game than Mario Galaxy 1. It kind of is like what I wanted Mario Galaxy 1 to feel like, but I felt like asking for it legitimately was too much because it was just already so good. It has the fluidity of Super Mario 3's philosophy of here's like let's just go 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 go, but with the feel and the engine and the physics and all of that of Mario Galaxy. I'm not saying all the like levels or missions or what have you were just like boom 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 quick quick quick. Definitely not. It just kind of felt like it because it was more streamlined to here's a linear map, go to each level, there's some branching paths, whatever. I just felt like it was more designed for go 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 as opposed to Mario Galaxy where you could take some time to fuck around the observatory, enjoy the music, hop around, watch listen to this depressing story. Well, I wouldn't say Rosalina's story is depressing, but emotional story for sure. I don't know. If you're looking for just like straight up enjoyable and very very interesting and just really pushing the limits of what the mechanics could be in a 3D platformer for its time, Mario Galaxy 2 is where it's at. But Mario Galaxy 1, it's still great. It's the one who did it first. And that doesn't automatically make it better. Just for me, I prefer Galaxy 2 over Galaxy 1, and that's okay. Like Galaxy 1 is where my emotional heart resides. Galaxy 2 is where my fun, wild heart is. So it's like the two sides of me. Just, I perfectly, divided up. So I do want to say I never got the chance to beat Mario Galaxy 2 because I moved a lot in my youth. Hell, I move a lot now. I basically move from house to house like every year, sadly, but whatever. That's just something I gotta deal with. Um, and Galaxy 2 got lost in one of my moves, along with my original copy of Rayman Raving Rabbits and Mario Wii. New Soup Wii. So, um, I have been unfortunately taken away the right to legally play Super Mario Galaxy 2 since Nintendo is too much of a coward to re release it. But I still played through the majority of it, and I still prefer it over the original Super Mario Galaxy. That's about all I gotta say about Galaxy 2, but we're not quite done, of course. Next is Super Mario 3D Land. Again, I thought New Soup 2 came out before 3D Land. I don't know. I don't know what the hell the release schedule is, but it's okay because I'm about to make the most controversial opinion in the whole Mario community. And it's far enough into the episode where people who were upset about my other controversial opinions already left, or maybe they're hate listening now. Either way, listen. All right, listen. Don't be mad, but I've gone back and forth about this too. I think Super Mario 3D Land is my favorite Mario game of all time. Let me explain. Let me explain here. It is basically what I wanted a Mario experience to be at the time. I wanted more of that goodness of linear but a little bit open experience that the Galaxy duology gave, but also within the conventions of some of the conventions of like the original 2D Mario, and also some extra a little flair on top of it too. And even though Mario 3D Land is a little bland, a little bit shittle, it still is pretty much my dream game. And not even its the sequel, 3D World, even came really got close to it. It is like we'll get to 3D World later, but 3D Land, wow, this shit's better than sex for me. So, um, not only we have this amazing linear open 2D Mario game, or sorry, 3D Mario game. Whoopsie dingo, that's the wrong dimension. Hee. uh but we get to take it on the go, and it looks fine on the console, and it's just fun, and there's always something new to do, and there's just a lot there. Holy shit, sign me the fuck up was what I said to myself as a baby booby boob. So, I don't even know where to start or where to end, or if there's even much I could say, how I could really explain how I feel, but I just think it's so fun. And I do wish it had some extra flair in terms of presentation. I was kind of getting a little tired of the it's all the same Mario enemies. I mean, it was nice to have variety for Hammer Bros. You know, like a boomerang suit was fun. It's nice to see the Taniki, suit. Wow, but I just felt like the level design was too strong, so utterly powerful that I just loved it. And I've replayed through this motherfucker 4 or 5 times, and I've 100%ed it twice. You know, there's so many games that are even shorter than this game that I've tried 100%ing, but this one, I think it's just the fact that it was portable and so good and addicting to me that no matter how many times I played it, I just found something so lovely and so charming and so endearing. It is super sanitized Mario in terms of visuals and flair, as I mentioned, but the gameplay, the raw gameplay, way more than makes up for it. The only way for me to enjoy a Mario game even more than 3D Land is if it's literally just that, but with super amounts of flair, like some stylization akin to Mario Wonder, or even a little less than Mario Wonder, just new stuff happening, like new enemies, new locations, just more interesting stuff. That is my new dream Mario. But this 3D Land was my dream Mario when I was baby. Do I ever expect something like that? No, because Nintendo seems to only be really focused on two different kinds of Mario experiences right now, like interesting stylized 2D Mario games, which are amazing, and sandbox Mario games like Odyssey and Fury, Bowser's Fury to be specific. But it's fine. I understand. Everybody likes that. I love 2D Mario, and Sandbox Mario is fun for me to play one time and then most likely never again, unless you're 64. But man, man, 3D Land is just so good, and it's pure mechanical goodness. And I want to give you my strongest formative gaming memory ever, because I have a handful. I already said a couple earlier in this episode, but this is my strongest one that has stuck with me, and I've never ever been able to replicate anything like this feeling ever again. Even merely thinking about it kind of tears me up a little bit. That's how strong and powerful this is, and you might not understand, but you're gonna have to understand. I was just a little baby. I don't know what age I was when this came out, but I got it the year the 3DS launch. I think. Yeah. This game came out the year the 3DS launched. I got it for Christmas and all that. Listen. Oh my god. Okay, so I thought my adventure was over. I loved it from beginning to end. Of course, there are some, stinky levels in there. Some, auto scrolling levels that were too slow. By the way, I want to say in general, auto scroller levels aren't inherently bad, but if they're too slow or there's nothing interesting happening in them, that's what makes them a pain. But that aside, I still loved the adventure through and through. And it was wonderful, and there was so much for me to do, so much, things to see. Even though it wasn't super snazzy, pizzazzy, it was still super fun. And then, and then, once I beat the game, the credits are rolled and done. There was a little like, what do you call it? Like a photo, of like Luigi being in jail. And I thought it was just a joke. Oh, that's where Luigi's been. Oh man, fucking dumbass. I thought it was like a joke one. How the story was mostly portrayed in 3D Land was through like photos that Mario would find or would be delivered to by flying not emails. What the fuck is wrong with me? Flying like mail letters. And I thought that was charming in itself. It's just a little silly. Hope to see that little creature again someday. Referenced in some Nintendo thing. I don't know. I mean, it's super random and super basic, but it's just my thing. It's my thing. Either way, um, I thought it was that's funny, that's cute, but then the credits are over. I don't know if you had to like re-enter your save file or whatever, but I was like, let's see if there's actually like a Luigi thing. There's a Luigi thing, all right. When you get back into the game, I think, or boot you back in or whatever. I don't know. It tells you that the special worlds have unlocked, and you could go through the World 1 like starting point, because uh the map was linear, like left to right, but still, at the very starting point of every world, it was empty. But now there was a pipe that you can go into at the very like the empty like little starting bit. So I was like, okay, let's go in. I was pretty excited. Like, okay, these are probably going to be, just a handful of levels, maybe like about a world and a half of content. After a little cutscene of Mario going through this other dimension, I'm assuming that's what happened. He came out, and I looked at the bottom screen, which showed all the like, it showed like little tabs that you could touch on, to get transported to different worlds once you unlock them. There was 8 worlds, 8 special worlds. I was only getting started. I only beat roughly about half of the game, and you have to remember this was already probably my favorite gaming experience of my life. Once I beat it originally, the game like just to beat the main 8 worlds. I I just stopped. I was so excited. I don't even know what to say, what to do. I didn't know if I wanted to cry. I didn't know if I wanted to yell. I didn't know if I wanted to jump, flap my arms. I don't know if I wanted to run around, which is what I do. I do those two things fairly often to express excitement. You know, wowee, autism, haha. But just, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what to think. I thought it was like a joke. I was like, oh, there's just whole 8 other worlds. No, 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 no. There's probably gonna be like only one level or two per world. No. I think there is overall less content in each special world, but still, that's still a lot of to do. There's still a whole, basically, nearly a hat. Like this game was doubled by two, basically. Even explaining this is so hard to really cement. I think how much it surprised me in the best way possible. It's like, what if you always got what you wanted, and then you got that to to an extended degree that you never knew that you wanted, but makes it even better. That's exactly how this felt for me, and I I love it. There was never ever a moment in gaming after that where I felt matched that level of excitement. It wasn't like a fake out of. It wasn't necessarily even a fake out too. Like everything was like, oh, the adventure's over. Oh well, up until like, oh, Luigi's in fucking jail now. And so I don't even know what to say. It was just amazing, and I can't even know what to say. I'm gonna. I think I should stop talking about it because there's nothing else to say. But along with the first 8 worlds being really fun, and also the 8 special worlds being mostly a great challenge and great time as well. Wow, just wow! That surprise, I'll never be able to live it down, and there'll never ever be another moment in gaming, I think, that'll make me feel that way, because I feel like everything gets spoiled, everything cool like that. Even if there was another thing just like that, you would get just spoiled online, and that's okay. It happens, but like, there will never be a raw moment where I thought a beloved experience that was amazing would just get expanded upon greatly. I guess Super Mario Odyssey did that with the sandbox thing, but again, I'm not a I'm not the biggest fan of that. It's fun, but it's not for me. I still play it because it's Mario, and Mario is always fun, but it's not the Mario kind of fun I want. So that's enough of 3D World, or sorry, 3D Land, and I hope we got a spiritual successor to that specifically. I want to get it back around to say why I prefer that over Galaxy and 3D World, but again, we'll get there when we get there. New Soup 2 and New Soup U, two different games that felt very similar, very bland, and the names rhymed. Wow. So, let's start with New Soup 2. It's fine. It's a fine game. It's a solid game. It doesn't make it a great game. If you want a generic 2D Mario experience, but sometimes you make a shit ton of money because the whole gimmick, if you are either unfamiliar or you don't remember, The gimmick, it was basically, oh wow, there's this golden flower and mix everything money with a money blast. And yeah, yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's for people enjoy money blast. I guess maybe, but still, um, it's just it felt a little on the, oh, this is just kind of getting old side. I did enjoy the post game. I believe there was yeah, there is a post game for this game. It was quite fun. It was quite fun. Definitely not as expensive as 3D Land, but it was still a fine addition. And in general, it's a fine game. It's pretty good. It's not great. It's not great. I'm sure we'll eventually see all the new Soup games ported, maybe in the future, maybe not. Maybe they're just doomed to stay on their old, rotting hardware for all of eternity. But either way, New Soup 2 is fine. It's a fine game. But what I want to say about it, what makes it possibly the best or a strong contender for one of the best games, is not what the base game has to offer. It's the DLC. So the DLC, wow. Some of it's just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But some of it is genuinely some of the most interesting 2D Mario content there was up until Mario Wonder. It was very interesting and I want to say innovative, but it was just some of it was unique or just really balls hard. Um, and I unfortunately never got the chance to really play any of it. I got a few DLC, $2, $3. I got in my pocket, go to a friend's house, spend my eShop money on it, but I never got to play like the super crazy butt shit ones. Um, so I hope that one day this game gets ported with all the DLC, because there was a version of the game you could buy at the eShop that included all the DLC. I think it was called the Gold Edition, which that, you know what, that makes sense. I get it. What the fuck is wrong with me? But I want to play for myself. I really do. And now that the eShop is gone, it's just impossible to obtain legally. But you know, piracy is bad, kids. Don't pirate. What you think you're gonna go on the fucking sea with your damn ass ship? You ain't gonna go on flowers over there. Anyway, what? I don't know why I decided to do like a mouth fart. I really can't control my body sometimes. Man. Anyway, New Soup 2 DLC. Good. New Soup U. That's fine. In my opinion, it's the worst new Super Mario Brothers game. I heard some people say it's the best because it's the most refined. I just feel like its levels are too compromised by the multiplayer, and it's just it's just more. It's just more of the same thing, and it came out in the same year as New Soup 2. So you have two bland 2D Mario games back to back, and it's just like, come on. I mean, when it came out, I was just happy there was more games to play. Just, oh, more Mario, oh, yummy, yummy for me. But like, I have zero reason to go back to New Super Mario Brothers U. I'm just like, it's just, there's just no reason. There's just no purpose. And that's okay. I just wish there was more to it. That one Van Gogh inspired level was cool, and I'm glad it inspired, or I believe it inspired Super Mario Brothers Wonder to be as creative as it is. But either way, New Soup U, just don't bother, in my opinion. If you want to play every Mario Brothers game, my recommendation is please space out the New Soup games. Like, play one New Soup and then play one of the others. Oh, fuck, throw some weird shit in there, you know? And you got, Super Mario 64 DS, which I didn't mention, even though a lot of people consider that to be part of the mainline Mario games. Um, it's it's a remake that adds content, and I'm happy for people who enjoy it. Hell, playable Wario, that's fucking awesome in a mainline Mario game. Still hasn't happened again to this day, but I don't know what to say. I also never really played it that much. I only borrowed it from a friend for like for a couple of months, but I didn't even play it a lot then. Either way, I acknowledge it, so sorry if that pissed you off if I just kind of skipped over it in terms of the timeline, but I just I'm trying to focus on the main stuff here, and then some stuff that's attached to it in terms of DLC. I don't know. This is a messy topic of what is considered mainline Mario, but I'm just kind of going through what makes sense to me. So sorry, both retroactively and also going forward for everything ever I ever do. So, um, talking about DLC, what something you should bother with is new Super Luigi U. So I'll call this Soup Luigi. Luigi Soup, actually. That makes more sense. Soup Luigi, or Luigi Soup. Wow. It really takes the skeletal bones of New Soup U and creates a interesting experience out of it. It still looks kind of bland. It's kind of man, but you take the visuals and the blandness out of the site, and you got a solid, even better than a solid, a pretty great experience. Um, what makes it great for people who don't know is that you have Luigi's iconic, slipperiness and etc. from Super Mario Brothers 2, and everyone has it now. And the levels are really short, but to account for this, there's only 100 seconds or 100 in-game seconds on the timer. So you just kind of have to blast through everything, and it's actually quite challenging, and it's really really fun. So that's a good one. That's a good one that you can play. Uh, Currently you can't buy it by itself. You used to be able to on the Wii U era, but on the Switch, you have to buy it with not Odyssey. What the fuck am I talking about? You have to buy it with New Super U, and yeah, it's $60 still, even after Wonder came out and Super Mario Maker 2. Well, whatever. And yeah, well, I think it's pretty good. I think it's a very worthwhile um game. It's another, in my opinion, it's like a spiritual successor to Lost Levels. And it feels like an official Nintendo ROM hack again for modern day, and I think that's a good way to really sum it up. So, yeah, if you can handle the bland aesthetic of like generic Mario, but you want something hard and fun with a Nintendo Seal quality, there you go. Get Luigi Soup. He will love you to drink his soup. So, soup aside, no more soup. Soup is done. Super Mario 3D World. Wow. So, Super Mario 3D World sure is a game. Obvious successor to 3D Land. That makes sense. Oh, why not? On a home console now. The Wii U even. Ooh, the U. Wow, so scary. So blue. Oh. No, I'm kidding. I love the Wii U. It's great. I mean, at least I thought it was great. I never really comprehended it was a failure when I was a baby babby. But it doesn't matter now. 3D World, is a fine game, but it feels a little too. It feels too compromised to 3D Land. With 3D Land, there was absolutely no multiplayer, that they had to worry about. So they made levels really tight and function very well and very concise. Basically, like a 3D version of Super Mario Brothers 3, which I know I compared Galaxy 2 with, but that was more for open. That was more like sand. But I don't know, man. If it's more like Mario 3, I like it. Okay, that's just 3D Land, 3 to threes. What do they mean? But anyway, 3D World does not have that tightness. It was definitely made multiplayer first. At least I felt like it. And the wider levels and the this and that, it just kind of takes away what made 3D Land special for me. Now, it doesn't make it a bad game. I was gonna say it doesn't make it a 3D game. What the fuck? It doesn't make it a bad game, but it makes it a harder experience for me to want to chew on. And I've played through 3D World. I've 100%ed it twice. I did it on Wii U. And when I mean 100%, I didn't like completely 100%. So true 100% means you have to beat every level as all the 5 playable characters. So I don't wanna. No, I don't want to do that. But in terms of everything else possible in the game, I did all that, and I enjoyed it on both playthroughs. And also, I did multiple. I started a bunch of playthroughs with friends just because it's like, oh, I'm made for multiplayer. Let's do a multiplayer. I just prefer to play games by myself if that's an option. Like if I wasn't, I don't know. Even if a game was designed with multiplayer in mind, if it's something like Mario, I just want to jump in peace, dude. I just want to jump on my own. I don't need no fucking nobody. Well, I guess with the new Super, it's particular. I'm particular. Everyone has their taste. My taste is dog water. I mean, dog water. It's not bad, but it's still bad. Okay, it's still bad. Blah. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than 3D Land felt way better mechanically than 3D World. Of like when we're talking about overalls, when it comes to specifics, 3D World has a lot of great stuff going for it, and it's still a great game. It's just, I don't know. It's not what I wanted a 3D Land spiritual successor to be. I was so excited for it, over the moon about it, because it's like 3D Land 2! Oh my god! But it's like, 3D Land 2 is not real, guys. It's not real. It's not real. So, it is a letdown for me in that way. For other people, they were wanting a sandbox Mario for the Wii U, which I understand. Ultimately, working on it and saving it for the Switch was the right call. I think they just wanted to make a 3D Land spiritual successor, and again, it's a good game. It doesn't have that specific flavor I want. So here's to hoping there will be maybe not a future Mario game, but a future 3D platformer that can have that same strong mechanical feeling that 3D Land can. Because I'm just a weird motherfucker. Other than that, I enjoyed the cat suit and the different things they did with it. And just in general, I enjoyed playing through and 100%ing 3D World. Like, it's still a good treat. It's still wonderful. Don't get me wrong. It's just not as what I want it to be specifically, but it doesn't matter. And, like, too much at the end of the day. It's still a good experience. I recommend playing it with at least one other person, like from beginning to end, if you can and have the time. I know it's kind of hard to commit to something like that with somebody, especially with a game that is fairly long, especially if you want to do the special world stuff, which trust me, you should. It's quite fun. But mechanically, very sound, very fun. Just not what I wanted, but it's okay. It's fine. If I'm not mistaken, next is Super Mario Maker. I'll lump in the second game here in this conversation too. I really considered if I wanted to talk about it here or not, because a lot of people consider this as like a sub series or side games. But I don't know. It's just Mario remixed. I mean, I guess it has to constitute as a mainline Mario game, right? I mean, that's how it feels to me. So I'll talk about it. Whew, that's pretty good. I was never crazy about making my own levels, to be honest. I mean, I did fuck around and make a few levels in Mario Maker 1 and 2. But, like, what? The play! I like the jump around, the cool. I love playing the, well, like the endless, well, not endless, whatever it's called, like the challenge runs where, like, you pick a difficulty and, like, you have to go through it. I liked it more in Wii U because it's like, oh, you have a set path, you have to beat this specific amount. And you also got, like the amiibo costumes or other limited edition, well, not limited edition, but like, costumes that you get through that. And then in the Switch sequel, they took it out and now it's endless. And I know some people prefer that. Um, I just wish it was an option. Like you can have your cake and eat it too, Nintendo. You have that programmed. I guess there would have been no reward. I mean, I guess they could have made new costumes, but they didn't want to. I don't know. I'll get into the costume thing in a second, but overall, Mario Maker is just cool and fun and a great time. And yeah, even though I wasn't much of a maker, I was so much of a player. It really is pay $60 and suffer, but like the suffering is fun. Sometimes you get amazing, immaculate masterpieces along the way. But most of the time you get doo-doo monkey feces. And sometimes doo-doo monkey feces is funny and it's fun to play with. Just, it gets a little rough eventually. And yeah, I was so happy to be a Wii U owner at the boom of Mario Maker. It was so awesome to play it the week it came out. And just to get to fuck around with it and play all the amazing levels that I saw online or just, I don't know, found randomly. It was great. I guess I should throw in the there was a 3DS port based off of the Wii U or the original, and it was fine, but no online functionality. Come on, Nintendo, what's wrong with you? I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. I know, like, I've been like going on and on about like the emotional significance of Super Mario to me this entire episode. I don't fucking care about Mario Maker 3DS. You know what? If you Okay, I understand you want a quality product no matter what or where it's from, but like you could tell through the trailers that it wasn't gonna be all there graphically. Even though they literally have an engine for New Soup 2, like on 3DS, they still just kind of squished in New Super Mario Brothers U on there because that was one of the styles that you could do, which completely alters the some stuff you could do, not completely, but change some things around and properties, and I like that a lot. Um, but still, it's like I don't know if they didn't want to go the extra mile to make it look good instead of just making it look super crunchy, crusty. It looks fine enough, but still, it's just if they didn't want to go to the effort of doing that when they have an engine made for that console to make it look good, it wasn't gonna do good. Again, I understand the like, oh, it needs to be great, but like, dude, just wait for Mario Maker 2. I knew like at the time people didn't know it was like a year away from knowing, but like I don't know. I just feel like it was a stupid thing Nintendo done just to make a quick buck, and that's it. And that sucks. But I'm glad I never bought it. So I want to talk about the costumes a little bit in Mario Maker 1. I loved them. I love getting to use my stupid amiibo figurines and slapping them on the Wii gamepad, and well, bam! Now I'm Zelda from The Legend of Zelda. Wow. But still, even though they're just like really silly and fun and cosmetic, I totally understand why they stick to the first Super Mario Bros. Art style. Or not just art style, but like gameplay style. Just general style theme. Whatever you want to call it. Just I understand it would have been too much effort to make all different variations throughout different styles and blah blah blah. I totally get it. So that's not really a complaint. Um, Something about it that just kind of sucks in the sequel, and I should have seen it coming because it's just like, oh, there's just so many properties like Hello Kitty and like whatever one of that car company that Mario, or Nintendo in general was crossing over with at the time. Like they just couldn't keep all the costumes in. Like what confused me is that they didn't just have all the ones that they had. Like they could have had all the first party ones, and if they didn't want to negotiate all the third party, costumes, that's okay. I mean, they could still have some. You could try. I mean, they could have done new ones. Like they were actively, making new amiibo for Smash Brothers. They could have supported for to an extent. Like the idea of playing as Snake in a Mario game, that was awesome. But it was never gonna happen because Snake wasn't in Smash 4, which means there was no amiibo, which means there was no reason to put him in Mario Maker. Unless Konami wanted to be like, oh, here we go, Snake. But I was like, why would you do that? Like, do it only if you had the amiibo. That was like basically almost every amiibo had to support. I don't know. It was just for funsies. Now you're saying I can't be Banjo Kazooie and Mario Maker? It really isn't the end of the world. It's just a nothing complaint, honestly. But it was fun to just jump around as Hello Kitty, fuck around. It was a good time. So it's something I miss, but understand it's probably never gonna come back. And even if it does, it's got a lot of legacy to live up to. I just hope the Mario Maker community understands that if we were to ever get costumes back, it won't be as expansive and wide outside of first parties when it comes back, if it ever does, in a future potential title, because negotiating third party deals for something like that is hard, especially because Mario Maker 2 wasn't a big splash like the first game. It made waves. It made some waves, but it dried out so fast in the sphere of the internet. Um, as opposed to Mario Maker 1 just kind of, like being a huge deal. It goes, whoa! Like everyone was like creaming their pantaloons just all about it, which, hey, you know what? It felt great to be a Mario fan at the time. So that's that. Mario Maker 2 is a great sequel. It adds new stuff, a whole new theme that introduces, like 3D Mario conventions into a 2D plane for Mario Maker, like being able to stand on womps without taking damage and other stuff like that, and long jumping in a 2D Mario game. That's always something I kind of wanted ever since I played Galaxy. I always wanted to be able to long jump in a 2D Mario game, even though it's kind of like stupid. It was just fun. And yeah, having a Mario Maker 2 made me realize there's some applications you can make for it, but within regular gameplay, and as like most Mario games would be, like throughout the adventure of like, increasing difficulty, but not super high most of the time. And they probably would have never used it anyway. But still, if they were to make a harder Mario game, like again, kind of like what they did with Wonder to an extent. Wonder's quite difficult throughout the adventure, just a little bit difficult. Not quite. Let's say it has its moments, and then its final challenges are very fun and a little tough too, but not too crazy bad hard. Um, if they were really wanted to push difficulty into Mario, which I doubt they will because I want to make it accessible to kids, which I get it, I understand. Um, then no reason to. It would just be nice to see it again. But I had my fill of Mario Maker 2, and it's probably going to be my fill for a long time, so what a stupid thing to want, but I wanted it, so why not? That aside, I never minded building without the touchscreen in Mario Maker 2. Again, I barely did it to be fair, but there was times where I played the game in handheld mode and I didn't use the touchscreen. I prefer to use the controllers to do it because back in Wii U original, you could just you'll have to use the gamepad to like drag and drop everything and all that good stuff. And you could do that on the Switch. It's just that the Switch's touchscreen isn't as, I want to say, fluid as the Wii U touchscreen, and that's okay. I mean, it still works fine. It's just so that never was a problem for me as a player more than a builder. But even when I builded, when I had inspiration, dude, it worked perfectly fine. The way they worked around it. Could they do more to make it better? Of course, but what they had was good, and I liked it. So that's just another wow hot take. I'm full of them, baby. So overall, I love Mario Maker. I love getting to play what random people do. I spent over hundreds of hours in both Mario Maker 1 and 2. And if Mario Maker 3 drops, I don't think I really have the time for that anymore now. I mean, I kind of do, but I want to have more variety than just Mario experiences in my life nowadays. But I'll still come around when a new Mario game comes out, of course. However, blah 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 blah. I'm okay with it. So, here's hoping that if there was a Mario Maker 3, which I'm sure there will be, maybe not next generation, maybe it'll take a break, maybe it needs a break, but when it comes back eventually, hopefully they do a lot and it's interesting and it's fun, and I'll try to be there. If it seems like there's enough new, I'll be there. That being said, what else is there? Oh, of course, Super Mario Odyssey. How could I forget? Super Mario Odyssey is fun. I think it's great. I think it's a good game. But it's not replayable. Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I would definitely want to say Mario Odyssey is great for what it is. It was the first game. Well, that's a lie. The first game I played on Switch was fucking ARMS, out of all things. But when I got my second Switch, I'll get to that in a second too. That was the first game I played on it. And I loved it a lot. And played it all Christmas long. Ho, 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 motherfucker. So, I'll just tell a little bit story here since I'm already on it. I have really weird family issues. And ultimately, I got a Switch from my grandma. And then I wasn't allowed to keep it. And then I got another Switch from my mom the same year. It came out 2017. And now I have two Switches. I still have the original one. It hasn't been updated since like early 2017, mid 2017. Summer. I will say summer. So, yeah, I just have two, I guess. I don't know what the fuck to do with the other one. I'm sure I'll find a use for it someday. It's just nice to have, I guess. Hell, it even has my old username. I used to just go by Fox online. I mean, I've had the name Fox Arie for a good while, but still, it was just like I am like people only call me Fox, not Arie, even though Arie is my name. So I don't know. The world is weird, dude. Let's just talk about Mario now. So, Super Mario Odyssey. It's very fun and it's a great time. And again, not crazy about Sandbox Mario, but even so, the sense of exploration was very strong on this one. Getting to experience most things firsthand and jump around and see all the nice little things to do, especially those more like focused platforming challenges without Cappy. Oh, those are my favorites. Those are my favorite parts of the game. I also enjoy capturing things. That's also good fun. But I mean, it was just more like I don't know. This is part of the game. It's fine. Most of the time, it was fine. Sometimes it was really good, but it was. I just felt like, oh, I have to get collectibles and what have you. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. I just wanted a more slightly linear, it's more expansive. Not expensive, but more linear challenges. There was still a few. Those are my favorites, and I think they're wonderful. But well, not enough to make me satisfied. But again, that's just a me thing. It's still a great game if you like Sandbox Mario. The thing that doesn't make it replayable at all for me, and a game that will be very, very hard for me to play again anytime in the next, I don't know, maybe even 5 years, is it's just it really is the most enjoyable on the first time. And I guess you could say that about any video game. Well, it really depends, but it feels like if you play it again, it's just like, okay, oh, I gotta do this and this and that. It really relies on you kind of playing through it the first time to enjoy it the most. It was kind of like built for that. Because, like, once you already play through it, you're like, oh, I already know. But it's not like they already know that's in like, oh, I can go through this even faster now. I can go through this. Like, basically, almost every other Mario game. I don't know. There's something about it makes it really hard for me to want to come back to. I think it's just all the really easy collectibles, or moons, to be specific. All the really easy moons that are just around. It's just, you can kind of just collect those. And it just doesn't make it feel like much of a challenge. I know you can ignore them and get the harder ones and only get them if you need them, but like they're there, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of like dangling keys in front of my face and dangling the same keys like more far away. I'm gonna get the one that's closer to me, but even though that the other way, the other keys that are jingling, like there's a super interesting path to it, there's still the keys that's in front of me. I can just grab it, reach out, and just put them in my damn pocket, get in my car, and drive off to the fucking sunset. You get the idea of that weird abstract analogy. That's how it felt. And again, that's not inherently a bad thing. It just makes me not want to touch the game at all. I tried replaying it a couple of years ago. I couldn't get too far into it. I was just like, nope, I'm just not having fun with it. So that might be just a one time, like from beginning to end kind of thing. I didn't even bother with the post game challenge. I think I might try it though. Uh, I still have my save file from my original playthrough, so I definitely have enough moons to go and try it because I heard it's pretty good. But I don't really want to go back to Odyssey. It's just not for me. It's not made for me. Um, so I really appreciate though that I was trying to go for something different in terms of Sandbox Mario. I like how it's more Banjo Kazooie style in terms of like I'll collect a collectible and then stay in the level kind of thing. Like that's fun. That's great. But all the same, it's just not the Mario I wanted. But at least for the first playthrough, which was quite a while because I try to do as much as I can. It was great, but I don't know. It's just a little disappointing that it doesn't feel replayable as all. Every other Mario game, I feel like I'm more willing to play again. Even New Super U, because I have played that multiple times because I was bored when I was younger. Um, I don't know if it's just because I'm older now, or it's. But even then, I had so much free time between the when Odyssey released and right now. Like only now, I only started to really get busy in my life. But I don't know. It's fine, but it's not one of my favorites. But that's okay. But something that is a sandbox Mario that is like Odyssey and that I want to play again in the future once it's more like like less fresh in my mind is I said Bowser's Fury. Holy butt cheek on a stick. Whoo! Bowser's Fury is wonderful, but it really is short because it's just like a borderline DLC for 3D Land. Oh, sorry, 3D World. Oh god, if it was 3D Land, I'd fucking cry on my knees. No, for 3D Land. Fuck, 3D World. That's what I mean. 3D World. Oh, I'm tired. No, 3D World that came in with the Switch port. And honestly, I was gonna buy 3D World anyway. Like for $60 just to play 3D World again on my current gen hardware. Yeah, yeah, I was ready. Money pocket. I was waiting for it. It was a meme in the Mario community. Oh, when is it gonna come? So many other Wii U games came to the Switch, but 3D World, oh, fuck us. But now we understand why, because they wanted to do something fun and interesting and innovative for it. And I think Bowser's Fury took what Odyssey was, they pushed it even further. So much so that it struggles on the console, but I mean, hey, it's worth it. It really is worth it. It does suck that the game really struggles, especially in handheld mode. At least in my case, it's just really really rough, and I don't know what happened, but hey, it's a really really fun Mario experience, and it elevates the idea of, oh, just jump around and don't have to go and like outside of each of the level every time you get a collectible. It brings it even further because now there's no like having to go from different world to world. Everything is around you. You just jump around. You just go wherever you want. And then when you come back to previous areas, there's new stuff for you to do. It's awesome. It's fucking cool. Like this is what innovation in a 3D Mario should be. I'm praying that the next 3D Mario game is like 3D Land. But my second prayer, because that's not going to happen, honestly. My second option, my second want, is for just Bowser's Fury 2. But with different gimmick, different like different aesthetics this time, but still like an ambitious 3D Mario game where it's just open world, which is, you might think, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've been going on this entire time basically ever since Mario 64 saying all of the sandbox ones are different or not for you, but like this is different. This is like even opener sandbox, and the way it was handled here, I liked it a lot. Or maybe I liked it a lot because it was like 6 hours to 100%. Either way, just I guess the way it was done was just so fun and so interesting. Oh, I know why. I know why. Okay, it's not because only that, but also because the platform challenging was tight. It felt like it felt like the true spiritual successor to 3D Land to me than what 3D World was. But also, if it had the DNA of Odyssey, that maybe that's why I like it so much, because it really is just, here's really tight and really awesome and creative and mechanically just so fun, like platforming challenges, but it's an open world and you could choose whatever you want to do, and if you come back there's more, and it's just really fun, and oh my god, I love it. So if I were to choose what my favorite Mario experience is out of those games, and I know I'll get to Wonder, don't worry, I'll get to Wonder. If I ever get to choose what my favorite Mario game out of all these were, 3D Land will still be there, but Bowser's Fury is sadly not a second. No, it'll probably be under Super Mario Brothers 3. Mario 3 Mother 3? No. Mario Bros 3 is under or is above Bowser's Fury just because it's more content, surprisingly. I guess, apples oranges, but still. But Bowser's Fury was so strong. It's exactly what I want an open sandbox Mario to be. I know I'm super particular. I'm just hoping that whatever 3D Mario they do next, they don't lean too hard into the Odyssey as like feel. I hope they stick with the Bowser's Fury blueprint because that is what I need. I need a full game like that. Like it's just thinking about it makes my knees weak in the best way possible. Like I see, like, I'm holding my hand against my chair because I genuinely am too excited. Again, I gotta manage my hope and hype, but in terms of just a pure idea that I know that is not gonna happen most likely, wow. Wow, that's awesome. So, let's round this all out with Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Oh shit, I said I was going to talk about the movie. Okay, we'll talk about the movie after Wonder, because Wonder is a video game and the movie is not. Super Mario Brothers Wonder is Game of the Year, baby, let's go! Woohoo! My heart's stereo. No, I don't know how that song goes. Anyway, no, seriously. Super Mario Brothers Wonder is a fun game. It's more than a fun game. It's a great game, an awesome game, an innovative, interesting, amazing game that only Nintendo could make. And I'm not saying that because Nintendo Master Race. No, no, no. I'm saying that because you could have amazing 2D games. You know, you can have amazing 2D platformers. And there's a lot of great indie games that are 2D platformers or platformers in general. The reason why only Nintendo could make a game like this to this caliber as of right now, unless someone was too crazy to want to like do something similar, like as an indie project, or I guess Microsoft and Sony could try, but I don't know. Either way, the reason being is purely because there is so much nuance, and so much different stuff coming at you constantly. It You can really tell that this game took 11 years to cook. Yeah, that's right. This game had an 11-year development cycle. Now, I'm just hoping the next 2D Mario doesn't take as long, but it's just as fun. It doesn't have to be as unique as this one. It just has to be its own fun and flavor and mechanically sound, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. From the get-go, instead of just being locked into a boring cutscene that you can't skip, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. You get to play as Mario or whoever else you pick. Luigi, Daisy. Daisy's here. Oh yeah, I like her. Ooh. So it was great and wonderful. You get to play through the beginning. That was a great sign already because every other 2D Mario game, not every other, but all the modern ones was like, oh, it was a cutscene, and you go, and that's perfectly fine. But it's like getting to jump around, collect some coins, just for a little bit. It was nice to have that little bit of freedom. And then, bada bing, bada boom, bada shloom. All right, we have Bowser. He took some drugs or something, and now he's a castle. And it's up to you, bitch ass, to save him with your friends, I guess. Um, I want to say, what is there to say? There's a lot to say. So let's start with the content. There's quite a lot here. If you want to do everything, because trust me, this is one of those games that encourage you to kind of see everything, and it's really worth it. It's a very fun and wild ride. Um, I'm not gonna say, oh, you gotta do 100%, but I gotta say, in terms of challenges and like stuff that unlocks over time, you are rewarded for 100% completion. And it's great to do that. It's great to have a game that keeps rewarding you like that. And I mean, I know other Mario games do that, but it's just nice to know that Nintendo wants to keep the tradition going forward because after a bunch of new Soup games, it was really rough for 2D Mario fans outside of Mario Maker. And Mario Maker's great, but still, there's nothing like having that professionally made experience and designed for well, most audiences. So what now? What is there else to say? Um, the brand new gimmicks, and power ups are just delightful. Elephant power up was silly. At first, I was like, I don't really like it, but now I'm like, wow, he's Zowie. Oh, and I want to say, if you remember earlier in this episode how I say Mario fucked up my speech for the rest of my life, yeah, Wowie Zowie has just become something I say like all the time now. Like it's become my new Wahoo. It's just how I will be laying in bed talking to my partner, and they'll be talking to me about whatever, and I'll just be like Wowie Zowie, and they're probably gonna look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, this shit is what's wrong with me? This shit. Ugh. So. um, that aside, uh, fun, good game. Ooh. Well, okay, maybe I should elaborate a little more. um, so, it's just mechanically sound. It's very charming. It's very lovely. Um, there's talking flowers. The original idea for the talking flowers, which if you're unfamiliar, they're when you pass by these living flowers, they say words to you. They say words. You know, they talk. Voice acting in a 2D Mario game that's not just whoo hee ha. That's crazy shit, dude. Um, the original idea for them, according to the development team, is that they wanted to have like live commentary in terms of like their like having an announcer like analyze what you're doing and it's like pre-recorded everything and like they know what character you are and what actions you're doing if you did something cool or if you're sucking real bad at the game. That's really ambitious, especially considering all the languages they have to dub the game in. I mean, still, like even having two dubs is a lot of work for that. Now imagine like the 5 or 6 they have, I think, for the talking flowers in this game for vocal dubs. Like, I think that's a lot of work, just in terms of programming and everything. That would have been nuts, but maybe I would have turned it off because that's a bit obnoxious. And I almost turned off the talking flowers because they're a bit obnoxious, but I kind of decided against it because I know I wanted to talk about it here, um, like midway through the journey anyway. So I figured let's just hear what they gotta say. It wasn't that bad. I'm not the biggest fan, but there were some moments that were genuinely funny. There was some like slight dark humor. This is a Mario game. There's not gonna be some edgy, crazy shit. But I don't know. There was this one moment where you hear one of the talking flowers quivering off screen. So you find a hidden vine and you go up, and then they're scared. They start to see you, and they're like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. It gets lonely." And then you start to go away, and they said, "Wait, don't leave me here." And I just thought it was funny because like you're making them suffer. So yeah, there's some moments where they suffer. I'm sure. Um, you know, it was done intentionally to appease creepy crawlers like me. But suffice it to say, May, assuming your name's May, probably it's not. But if it is, congrats. No. Suffice it to say, talking flowers are not that bad. But if you just don't want to hear bullshit, it's like the most funniest thing. And it does some lines are repeated more often than not, and it becomes a little exhausting. If you just don't want to even bother, it's okay to turn it off. And I'm sure a lot of people have. If I were to ever replay this game, which I might. It was really really good. I think I definitely will. Like a long time from now, when it's out of my mind, then I probably turn it off if I remember because it's just it's the funny moments don't really outweigh like the okay I heard that or whatever moments, you know. But that's okay. They're not terrible. They're just there, and that's perfectly fine. Um, what it has over Odyssey in terms of exploration, in terms of like seeing stuff and possibly doing it again, is that since it's a 2D game, it's I don't know. It just kind of throws things at you more faster. I know, like you can have, like longer, more boring, slower 2D Mario games. I mean, let's look at New Super U. But even with all the wonder effects, which basically change whatever's going on, could change the whole thing, could change what element of a level, could change you. You know, uh, even though a lot of the surprise is gone. Obviously, once you play through the game, that's not a bad thing. I mean, the surprise is very fun. especially if you go on as blind as possible, as I have. The only one I got spoiled about was like one of the last ones in like the main campaign. I'm not gonna talk about specifics, um, because I know people might listen to this possibly without playing the game. Maybe you don't care, but I don't want to spoil nothing important. Either way, it was not really important. It's just a cool moment. Either way, um, it's still fun. Like it's not just like oh surprise. It's also fun. I guess you could say the same about Mario Odyssey, like with the T Rex. But I don't know. It just kind of felt like oh it's there, and you gotta do the thing. Here it's like you gotta do the thing, but it's also like quick and it's completely over, and you know exactly what to do. You just kind of it's way more concise and fast and easy. Not easy, but well, good majority of it is fairly easy for most audiences. Or not most audiences, for like hardcore Mario gangsters like me. Either way, despite its easier difficulty throughout the majority of the adventure, it is very pleasant, enjoyable, wonderful, and delightful. And I didn't say wonderful as a pun, I just mean it because that's just how I describe other things. So if you've been thinking that I've been using wonderful as a pun throughout this episode, you're wrong. That's just me with my limited thesaurus and my brain just trying to describe things the best I can. Sorry if that's annoying. Sorry. I know right now a lot of people are making the pun like, oh, Mario wonderful. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not. I'm cringe, but I'm not that cringe. I just did it on accident, so I'm sorry. I'm too lazy to edit that out. A boohoo, a choo choo. Oh, I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay. Other than that, post game was fun. It's even more fun because you could do this Super Mario World style and just kind of access it midway through. It's different because you can't access all of it from the. I was gonna say the gimme go. No, you can't access it from the get go. You have to access all of like the separate levels per world, through finding alternate routes or possibly backtracking and going to the last level or like last area and play through it again or activating it, whatever. It's different from different like area to area, and some of them I just had no idea because it's like I had to go back and like go to this specific thing. It's okay to look up a guide for this. Don't worry, trust me. If that's if you care about that kind of thing, but um, I think that was for the best because I saved those levels basically for last, and it was worth it because I feel like if I did them like as they come, it would have been like really fun. But I don't know. I feel like playing through Mario Wonder, like all the regular stuff, was very very fun and very nice. But then playing through these like harder levels would have spoiled the experience. Again, you can play however you want. That's just how I like to do. I like to save the most extravagant things until last, unless it's like right there in front of me. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of like you're eating food and you're eating something's pretty good, and then the best part of the meal is that out in front of you, and you can take it right now. You can have it right now, or you can finish your already great meal. It's pretty good. It's been pretty nice, pretty nice. And then you can have that delicious, sweet, succulent dessert. The delicious pastries filling your mouth with all that cream, and it's just so yummy and tasty. But if you eat that midway through your original good meal, then you go back to eating your good meal. It's just like, I mean, it's still good, but I mean, it's not as great as the creamy cream. And that's what happened to me in Mario World. I had the creamy cream. I played through all the special world levels, and I don't want to play the rest of the game. I have beaten the game. I beat Bowser, but there's like a decent chunk of the regular game I don't want to bother with because I already seen the hardest challenges the game has to offer. So that is my advice for you Mario gamers out there. um, huh. Other than that, it's fun. Also, I saw some people complaining about the story. I know this probably just stupid bullshit, but do you really care about the story in Mario? It was only important. It's a story in Mario is only important to set up the plot and get you to play the game. The only time it mattered was in Mario Galaxy, but even then, it's not like you needed it. You can play the whole game without experiencing it. It makes it better. It makes it cooler. It makes people care about Rosalina, but you could also perfectly have a great time without caring about the story. So I don't know. Story of Mario does not matter to me. I really care about mechanical refinedness rather than, oh wow, what did the Italian plumber did this time? But I get it. People like their own things. I guess story does matter in Mario when you're talking about the RPGs, but that's a conversation for another time. Talking about story, actually, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about as well with the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, um, I just want to say the road to get there was fucking nuts. You know, like getting the announcement of the movie's production 6, 7 years before it actually came out. And then the cast reveal, of course, the whole internet went crazy about that. It was like Chris Pratt, Mario, Blackjack, Bowser. You get the idea. It was fucking weird, but it was cool. I always thought about it like this. This is gonna be weird. This is gonna be silly. This is gonna be a goofy Mario movie. But that's why I like Mario. I like so many weird iterations of Mario. I like the Mario from Mario Teaches Typing, that floating head I mentioned before. I liked the Mario from the Dick cartoons. Like the rough, I guess New Yorker Jersey-ish accent of like, oh no, 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 sorry, Brooklyn accent of like Luigi. I can't do it. I don't have the voice for it. You get the idea. I'm so used to Mario being so many different things that it's okay for Chris Pratt in my mind. I thought he could have done a good Mario. Not like a good traditional game Mario, but a good Mario for a movie that is going for something, I guess, different, but also similar if you're familiar with the 80s, 90s cartoons, which I know not even a fraction of the majority of the modern Mario community maybe even is aware of. I mean, maybe they are, but I kind of doubt it because they're kind of still obscure to this day, for good reason. They're strange. But as someone who was a fan of those shows, like watching them retroactively when I was little, that's also kind of how I see Mario. Like, there's different kinds of Mario's. Like I said, there was that anime OVA Mario. That's an iteration of Mario. Hell, Luigi there was one who grew up in horror, so I mean that's fun. And then again, the gruffy Deke Mario. I'm so used to Mario sounding and being different, but still maintaining the overall Mario ness, the Mario spirit. That's why I didn't mind Chris Pratt being casted as Mario. Um, However, while talking about Mario and voices, I want to quickly say Kevin Afghani, the guy who does Mario and Luigi for Mario Wonder, and most likely gonna be Mario and Luigi for the foreseeable future. I really don't like his Mario. It genuinely pains me. I understand people are like, "Oh, get over it" or whatever, but it's like Charles Martinet's iteration of Mario and Luigi for the games have just kind of been intertwined so much with who I am as a person. It's kind of hard to break away. It's probably how people thought when Sega changed the English voice actors for Sonic, over the years a couple of times. Or, I imagine it's the same kind of feeling, but still. But the thing is, as well, is that it's not like I can't accept any new people. I accept Chris Pratt in my heart for the Mario movie earlier this year. And then for the game, for Wonder, I loved Kevin Afghani's Luigi. His Luigi is definitely different, and there's some lines that make me go like, that could be better. Could be better. It's not awful. It could be better, but most of his lines for Luigi is fun. It's Luigi. It's energetic. It has that Luigi-isms, that Luigi soup that I love in my soul. His Mario, it was the first thing I heard outside of like the title music and the menu sounds in Mario Wonder when I opened it up the minute it became available, and hearing the "It's a me" with Kevin Afghani's voice. Oh, dude, I it dampened my hype a little bit. I wasn't like over the moon. Oh, this is gonna be peak. This is gonna be peak. But I was still like, this is gonna be a good time. I'm gonna enjoy this. And I was like, oh, Kevin, why you gotta do this to me, Kev boy? No hate at all to Mr. Afghani. I'm sure he is doing his best to be his own Mario and Luigi. But what I personally want is Nintendo to recast Mario, which I know might sound really harsh to Kevin, but he's a great Luigi. That's a big honor too. I love Luigi more than Mario actually. If I have the option to play as Luigi, but he doesn't, but he's not slippery, I play as Luigi. I played as Luigi the entirety of Mario Brothers Wonder, except when I played as Daisy and the jump sound effect sounded it started to hurt my ears. I forgot about that. I was gonna originally play as Daisy, but that jump sound effect was too high pitched, and really didn't like it, so it really hurt my ears. Yeah, I mean Mario Wonder is not perfect. I would say it's a solid 9 out of 10 if scores mean anything to you, but still, um, that's I don't know. I don't like to give review scores. It's really really good, but there's parts of it that suck. Like it just kind of is a bit of a slog to get through menus and to go through like, oh, here's a new area, then you gotta wait in this Toad house. I forgot about that honestly. I was just excited to talk about it. But either way, okay. Kevin Afghani Mario, no like. Kevin Afghani Luigi, yummy, so good. um, but either way, now let's focus on the movie. Now for real, for real. Um, when the first teaser image dropped, not even teaser, like not even the trailer, the teaser trailer, the teaser image for the teaser trailer, like Mario standing in the Mushroom Kingdom. I was excited. It was awesome. I was like, he's super detailed. Mario in real life, all these toads everywhere, the different shops, the districts. It felt lively. It felt alive. It felt wonderful. And I just stared at that ever since that released to the public, and I saw it up until the trailer dropped. And it got me a little worried, like Chris Pratt being like, "What is this place?" I'm glad that wasn't in the movie. It probably was just for the trailer, but still, the movie is definitely more snappy instead of just being the slow. Oh, let Mario discover. And I like that because Mario's always about the let's go, jump around, adventure, and the movie really it does that really good. Maybe a little too good because it's a little too fast. We'll get that in a second, but wow. Um, yeah, no, it looked fine. And I did watch the other two trailers, and man, it did show a bit too much. That is a problem with movie trailers. They do show too much. The second one, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, it depends on who you are, but the second movie trailer was still fine. And then the third one, it was just, oh no, not showing like everything almost. So, Fire Donkey Kong. Wow. But either way, but that was cool. Fire Donkey Kong was awesome. I love it when he throws his balls around, dude. Um, so what was I gonna say? Let's talk about the movie in specifics. No more trailers. Let's talk about the movie. I loved Chris Pratt and Charlie Day's performances as Mario and Luigi, respectively. Wow. Oh, and Jack Black as Bowser is also really good. It's awesome. It's perfect. I thought it was perfect casting, honestly. Um, oh, here's a controversial opinion. I think Chris Pratt should replace Kevin Afghani as Mario in the games. His Mario impression was really good in like the commercial bit of the movie. And I was just like, okay then. Well, you know what? Yeah, okay. This guy could be Mario. It's not perfect, but I kind of like it way more than Kevin's. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm burying you underground, but you, Chris. I mean, it's Chris Pratt. He knows how to use his voice a little. Charlie Day's Luigi in that thing, it was fine. So that's like the best of both worlds for me. It's like if I can't have Charles Martinet, Chris Pratt has Mario in the games, doing the obviously not the Chris Pratt regular voice, but the more like eccentric voice. And then Kevin as Luigi. That's good. I like that. That's what I want. Will it happen? No, but I can dream. I can dream. So that was very nice. Whoever played as Peach, sorry, I'm bad with names. You did good too. I liked your vocal performance. Seth Rogen, Donkey Kong. There were some moments where I felt a little phoned in. I get it. It must be very expensive to work with, and you're already probably, like spending so much money on Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Jack Black. It was just kind of like, let's just bring what Seth brings us and do our best with it. I get it. But overall, good. He's good. Had some moments. My favorite moment was when Mario and Donkey Kong. I think they were eaten alive by like some giant eel, and then like they were just talking about each other's family. So something similar to that. That was a good moment. I'm not gonna try to spoil the whole thing. I don't think anyone cares about Mario movie spoilers. I think everyone who wanted to see it seen it, but I'm trying to like not like say everything here. Either way, um, whoever played as our main Toad guy, I don't remember your name. Sorry. Uh, you did good too. You did a good Toad. I enjoyed it. So, in terms of plot, it was good and simple. It needed to be. It is what it needed to be. It didn't need to be anything grandiose. Although I really liked how things just kind of like went along. The only real biggest complaint I have is just some parts just went too fast. I wish the movie was a little longer, to compensate for all the adventuring, or I don't know. It just kind of felt like in the middle part it was just like go, but it was too much. It was too fast. Like I like it in movies or games where it's like go, but there's a point where it's too much and it's too fast and it was overwhelming. But I stuck with it because it's not like I can pause the movie at the fucking theater, so it's okay. It's fine. Whew. So, um, ultimately, it was almost exactly what I expected it to be, but better. The only other complaint I actually have now that I think, well, not complaint. Okay, the only thing I really wanted it to be was like just Mario and Luigi exploring the kingdom, but then it made more sense that Luigi was locked away because it's like motivation for Mario, and then we get to see more of Luigi on his own, and him being Luigi, which is always delightful. I always love him, any iteration of Luigi. I am just hoping and praying that the sequel, because there will be a sequel. Let's be honest. I mean, there has to be, right? They made over $1 billion on this movie. That a sequel will have Mario and Luigi being together for the majority of it. If they're separated for a little bit, that's fine. But like, I want the bros to be hooked on the brothers. Oh, like I want them to be together, and I just want them to just do silly Mario things together. That's what I love most. The relationship between Mario and Luigi. That's something I always adored over the years, and seeing it become more and more realized with different games. Like the beginning of Luigi's Mansion 3, the endings of all Luigi's Mansions, really. You get the idea. Just seeing their relationship and how silly they are, and just them caring about each other so much, especially in the movie in the beginning of the Brooklyn part. Oh my god, it's lovely. And I also Mario giving Luigi the nickname of Lou. I mean, that's so obvious. I can't believe almost no one else thought of that in the community. Maybe a lot of people have, and I've just been ignorant. But oh my god, it was just so cute and charming and natural, and didn't feel corporate. It felt like from the heart, something a real fan would do. I just loved it. Now I find myself sometimes calling Luigi Lou. I haven't done it in this episode because people would be like, "Who the fuck is Lou?" If they didn't see the movie, but or if they don't remember that because it's a little detail, but still, sometimes the littlest things mean the world to me. And Lou, oh man, stick to my moo. All said and done, the Mario movie is far from like outstanding, but it's still pretty good. In my opinion, it was great. It was again everything I wanted, almost everything I wanted, just without the Luigi. Sad, but it's okay. That's what sequels are for. I just kind of hope that they would lean into the Mario and Luigi like stuff for the sequels. I mean, they have to do something. They can't just do Bowser over and over again. Like they gotta keep introducing new shit happening. And I'm just kind of, I would actually cry if like Fawful just like is a part of the next movie. I really doubt it. I'm not getting my hopes up. It would make more sense if the villain was Wario and Waluigi. Or just Wario by himself. I get it. But still, either way, I am hoping that we get a sequel, and it's even better than this one, and we just have more awesome, skrunkly Mario and Luigi moments. That's some of my favorite things in the world. And yeah, it's overall a good movie, and I feel like I wouldn't have a place to really talk about it. I guess it could have been its own episode. I just figured since I'm already splurging so much about Mario at one time, I might as well just do it now. So there you go. There's my Mario splurging. And honestly, that's just about everything I gotta say for now. Thank you so much for listening to this over 2 hour thing. Like, I knew this was gonna be a while. I was estimating this episode to be 1.5 hours, but oh my god, dude, I've been here for too long. I'm really tired, as you can imagine, but hey, I really appreciate you listening. I really appreciate just being here and talking about it. And yeah, I'm gonna go pass out and probably wake up and play some more Mario Land 2. So, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Any and all support of the show would always be utterly, amazingly just make my day. Just always makes me smile. So the best thing you could do is share it around. And I mean, there's other means you could support it, but whatever. Really, just be happy, enjoy life. That's what matters most. All right, I'm out of here now. Bye bye.